Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm here in Rome, capital city. Please do, as you jump in, say hello in the chat so I know where you're from, what teaching you're doing, high school, lower secondary school, whatever private language schools. I'm sure you got plenty to share with us. If you can also share how many students are you teaching and what do you love about teaching? I will repeat this. Franco Rossi, I do know you, sir. Up in Milan. Oh, yes. And Romina's smiling because she knows you too. Okay, so welcome everybody. As I said, from Rome. Sylvia, I can't say good afternoon in Greek, so I'm gonna probably say kalispera, but that's not correct. How do you
Yeah,
say?
Kalispera. That's
Oh, I got
right.
it right. I got it
Yeah,
right. Oh, buon
yeah.
pomeriggio. Buon pomeriggio a tutti.
Well
Romina,
done.
buon pomeriggio anche a te. Good
Buon
afternoon to all of you.
pomeriggio.
Hi, hi. Oh, Rafaela can't hear us. So anyway, as you come in, we'll just warm up quickly so you can get yourselves typing. Just write where you are based. So, for example, Franco, you can type in Milano. Um, you teach in a private language school? Do you teach in state school? Is it a high school? Is it a middle school, primary school? And tell me one word or two words of what do you love about teaching. This is about you. This is about teachers, teacher support. Allow me just a few minutes to allow everybody to come in and for me to have a look. I can see Prema. Hi, Fabrizia. Hi. I hope Rafaela can hear us. Oh, there you go. Okay, I can see that people are taking care of you. Anyway, allow me, for the meantime, to introduce myself. I am Giuseppe Romagnoli for the Italian, and for the English, it would be Giuseppe Romagnoli. So I've heard of different versions of my name. For the friends, I become Joe. So you can call me Joe if you wish, no problems. I'm the country manager of LanguageCert here in Italy. My job is basically the brand, the reputation, test centers, and I can see there are a couple in there participating. And today, actually, I saw there's quite a variety, not just from Italy. We got people registered from all over the world, from different parts of the world. So, as I said, I don't speak all your language, but welcome to everyone. And as I said, good morning or good evening, because if you're different parts of the world, so obviously I'm saying good afternoon because I'm based here in Italy. So, Giuseppe Romagnoli, Language Cert, I'm very happy to be here to moderate this webinar. This is the second webinar that we have been organizing with Macmillan proudly. This is the seventh edition, and every year we do two webinars. So the first one was the 19th of February, and that was with Skillful Book with Macmillan and with Erika Favero and Sylvia Caristati, who did the mapping of the Language Cert Academic, our qualification that we go very proud of. Instead, today we'll be talking about another qualification as LanguageCert ESOL for schools, very, very popular here in Italy. So I'm sure that our teachers from Italy will be happy to hear about this, targeted for the teenagers and for the scuola secondaria primo e secondo grado, as we say in Italian. Welcome, Brianza. Ciao, Raffaella. Hi, hi. So basically, today we'll be focusing on practical support to empower your lovely students for their success, mapping language at ease for schools to the Macmillan Get Involved. We have basically two speakers. One is Romina from Macmillan. Hi, Romina. I'll be introducing
Hello,
you with your
everyone.
hi. And, and Nancy Cari, sorry, I've got that.
Katsukari.
I was just about to go
Yes,
to Sylvia's surname. I apologize for that.
that's okay.
Um,
Hello,
and there
everyone.
you go. Hi, hi. And just to let you know, this is, as I said to you, this is the seventh edition, Romina. This is now 7 years that we've been doing this. We can't say we're not consistent. We are. Every February we do two webinars. I think this is beautiful. Allow me to give you a little bit of housekeeping. This is a more or less a 1 hour session. We'll be finishing at 5 o'clock Italian time. The chat is open. Feel free to write, to chat, to share feelings, opinions, etc. But if you have any questions to address to Nancy or Romina, please put them in the Q&A box because it makes my life easier. Otherwise, I have to go through the chat to find things. The other thing I'd like to say for those who have registered, because I know that some people register, And then what happens, they can get in late or they finish a little bit earlier. You will get the recording after by email, so you can catch up with the parts that are missing. And you'll also get the PDF of the mapping that Nancy has worked on hard and making this possible. And also, allow me to tell you that immediately, you'll also be getting a certificate of attendance. I normally get that question in every Q&A, but this time I'm telling you now, you will be getting that. And last, I will repeat this later, when you close the session, just in case you close before, there is a survey, very quick survey. We do appreciate if you fill it in very quickly. It gives us valuable insight. Now, without further ado, allow me to introduce formally Romina Pifferi from Macmillan, Key Account Italy. Romina Pifferi works for Macmillan Education as Key Accounts Manager for Italy, with a background in education sector as a teacher and academic coordinator in private language schools in Italy. She has developed expertise in the education sector. She has then developed interest in managing materials and in the publishing field. She manages relationship with state schools all over Italy, I know that, and private language schools in Italy. And today she will be focusing 100% on the existing collaboration with LANGUAGECERT and Macmillan, particularly focused on Get Involved. Over to you, Romina. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Giuseppe. And hello, everybody. Thank you for being here today. I don't have to add anything about myself, actually, because Giuseppe said it all. Some of you might know me already, and for those who don't know me, I will be everywhere in this period. So I'm sure that sooner or later we are going to meet. I will share my screen because today I would like to focus on Get Involved and some parts of the book that maybe I haven't mentioned yet. So I just would like to focus on that. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Let me just open the chat so that I can follow you. Okay. So I hope you can see my presentation. Just to check, can everyone see my presentation? If you can just say yes in the chat.
Romina, I can. Sorry, I was distracted a second. I can.
Super. Okay, no worries. Everyone said yes. So fantastic. Okay, so I'll start. So today I would like to focus on Get Involved. Some of you might already know the book. Others, for those who don't know the book, we have mapped several levels of this book for the exam ESOL for schools, LANGUAGECERT, of course. And in these years, I've given several presentations of the book. Last year, I focused more on the, let's say, the general characteristics of the book. This year, I would like to give a short summary of it and focus on something that might be helpful when preparing the students for LANGUAGECERT, but also if you want to give some dynamism to the lesson. Because one of the main characteristics and features of the book is the multisensory learning. So this book has been created with that in mind. So with this multisensory approach. How? First of all, one second, because I think that with this. Okay, so how? First of all, I just would like to introduce the topic. So what is multisensory learning? Of course, you already know, but just to give you an idea, it integrates a variety of sensory tasks and activities, and students can engage with material in more than one way. So the book itself is based on this concept. So there are several exercises that can be treated with different approaches. And what I would like to show you today is how the book gets into it. So we've got alternative usage of images, because the book has lots of images inside that are included in several sections. They can be included in vocabulary sections, grammar sections, reading and speaking activities. So images are everywhere in the book. And there are, together with the images, some suggestions and little boxes that will address you to this multisensory learning approach, especially with two types of boxes that are in the book. There are the super skill sections and the brain teaser sections. So I'm going to show you an example of the activities very soon. The same thing happens for the audio files. So of course, they are based, they are, let's say, present in the book following the natural acquisition of a language approach. And of course, they have been mapped for the exam. However, together with the audio, you also have these suggestions, both in the teacher's book and in these boxes, that can help you go for the multisensory learning approach as well. The same thing happens for videos. Videos are present all over the units, and there are three types of videos in the book, and I'm going to speak about them in a minute, plus an on-the-go practice, which is interactive, full interactive, and available for both teachers and students. And these videos and the practice are team tested and gamified. And then there are projects. The projects are the, let's say, most visible example of multisensory approach and collaborative approach. And I'm going to speak about the sections in a minute. So let's get into the practical things. So let's talk about the images. I mentioned the images at first. So in the book, now I got the example from level A2, but it can be utilized with lots and lots of different levels, and especially with the higher levels, you can also have other exercises that are described in the book anyway. So this is an example from the book, and it's a grammar exercise. So it's a whole page based on grammar with this picture. And both in the teacher's book and on the page, you've got a suggestion of a possible activity that is linked to the multi-sensory approach. So, for example, this activity is choose one of the characters in the image and imagine what that character is experiencing at the moment the photo was taken. So you write a description in the first person describing the sensations the character is experiencing. I can see, I can hear, I smell, I taste, I feel. And then you can repeat the process for all the characters that are in the picture. This activity can be done either in class or as homework, or maybe as a pair work or group work. And you can do it in several ways. You can do it in class, but you can also, so using the paper book, sorry, but you can also do it using the digital book. So this is an example that my colleagues created. And for example, they used the digital book to write on the book and to put notes next to the picture saying, I can hear two boys laughing. I can hear the sound of the coffee machine. I can smell fresh coffee. I can taste the coffee I finished a few minutes ago. I can see my empty cup, sunlight, phone, and backpack. And you can also draw on the page if you want, or they can draw on the page if they want. I can feel a breeze coming. Oh, sorry, there's a typo there. I'll tell my colleagues. A breeze coming from the doorway. So this type of activity can be can make use of both the paper book and the digital book. So I recommend having a look at those little sections, both in the teacher's book and on the book itself, because it can really make the lesson very dynamic. Then the same thing can happen with the audio files. For example, this is another example that, let's say, describes an informal conversation about a visit to Buenos Aires, and there's a picture on the book. Now I'm going to show you the script just because of time, and you're going to hear just a very quick part of that. But in the activities that I'm going to explain, I would recommend not using the script, especially for the higher levels. This is an example with A2, but especially for higher levels. So,
Are you ready for the trip?
More or less. Listen, is there a sports centre near you?
Yeah. Why?
I want to go to the gym while I'm there.
okay, so that's the beginning of a conversation between two people, and they are talking about Buenos Aires, and they are describing the city. So, how many teams are there? Where can I watch football matches, etc., etc. So, possible activities you're using the audio files. Activities that are, of course, linked to the exams, but not only. They can be linked to maybe some other types of activities that you would like to do in class, just to give a little bit of engaging moment, fun, dynamism, etc. In this,
Are you ready for the
oh,
trip?
sorry.
More.
Okay. So in this type of, let's say, multi-sensory approach. And the activities that I would like to suggest in this presentation are basically two. The first one is it can be done as a group or again as an independent activity or in pairs. I think it's more fun if it's done as a group, but they have to listen to the conversation again and imagine what you might be able to see in the scene. So what do the speakers look like? Where are they? And then it says, work with a partner to discuss what you imagined and work together to draw a picture. You can draw something in class. You can do it again as homework, but this kind of activity, I think, is better if you do it in class. But that's one of the examples where you can turn an audio file into something different so that the lesson can become a little bit different from the usual lesson that you might have. Another suggestion is, for example, that you listen to the conversation and then you try to picture the places that the speaker is talking about. So, for example, the buildings, the street furniture, the transport. And so you imagine things by, let's say, focusing on the audio file that you've listened to. So focusing on the listening activity. And then there are different layers of activities. You can, again, draw the city that you have imagined. You can have a short competition with the students. You can also, if you've got blocks or objects in class, you can also use those to build a 3D model of the city. So these suggestions are all included in the book. So that's why I really wanted to show you this side of the book, because it's not really visible, let's say, the very first sight, but then you can really utilize all the sections in different ways. Another thing, and the last thing I wanted to talk about, are the videos. There are 3 types of videos in the series, and in every unit there are all 3. So every unit has got 3 types of videos. We've got the unit opener videos that have got audio comprehension, video comprehension, and critical thinking questions. So, for example, the questions are also related to what more would you like to know about the video that you've just seen. So it sparkles curiosity and critical thinking as well. Why is video a good way to learn about the weather, for example? So you go beyond the video in that case, and you turn a viewing skill into a speaking activity, for example. Real world speaking videos are the second type of videos that are included in the unit. And usually it's a dialogue. There are variety of accents, functional language. So it's very, very easy to turn the video into something that can become either a listening activity, because the digital book allows you to do that as well, or a speaking activity. You can also create a sort of acting out. So you can recreate the video and so the students are actors in that case. So there are so many different things that you can do with this multisensory approach in mind. The last type of video is the project videos that are strictly connected to the project sections that are included in the book. And the project sections are extremely, let's say, important for this multisensory approach because they are the most visible sections, of this approach. And they are usually at the end of every unit or every 2 units, depending on the levels. And they are always introduced by the project videos. Project videos are real videos of people making things. So, for example, in this case, the student is making a mini book. And so the whole project will be about making a mini book. And in the video, you've got the information, you've got the instructions, and then you can utilize these 2 sections, these 2 pages, of the section of the project section to create the video, to recreate the video, or do something else, make things 100%. Last but not least, again, still connected to the project videos are the actual projects. So the video introduces the project, and then you've got a step-by-step guided projects that, of course, is there to encourage students to work in a collaborative way and to develop the multisensory approach and collaboration. Here I put some examples of the projects that are present in the books. Again, I got examples from Get Involved Day 2, but there are so many examples in all the levels. So, for example, you make a mini book, you make a video giving weather advice, you can make a map, you make a digital presentation about a hero from the past, you can prepare a poster about endangered animals. So as you can see here, for example, it can be applied to different levels depending on the language you would like to use. So this was just an overview of a little yet important section of Get Involved that you might not have explored maybe in total, just because of time, or just because, of course, there are so many things to have a look at all the time. But while you prepare your students for the language cert and use this book, you can also enjoy this little part that will make the students, I believe, happier and also very, very, very engaged. And so that was a short introduction, but I'm always available if you want to have more information. So, for example, you can text me you can write an email to me, and this is my email address. I can put it in the chat box as well. And you are going to have the slides anyway, because I'm sending them to my colleagues here. So thank you again. And
thank you, Romina. Thank you so much. Please do put your email in, and we'll add that as material we'll send after. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to be switching now. So I just want to highlight a couple of very interesting things that Romina shared: the multisensory learning, the multisensory approach. It's very interesting. Also, this building confidence, which I found very interesting. Autonomy of the students, being dynamic, and make the most of. Making, doing, and collaborating. I think this is really beautiful. And project-based learning. You've got a lot in there, a lot to share. And as we're talking about students, we're talking about students for ESOL for schools, A2, let's say B2. We're talking about high school students. So allow me to link one word, and then Nancy, you'll take it from here after I read your bio. Building confidence. I think a very, very important point when we're dealing with teenagers is building their autonomy and building their confidence. I think our exams, ESOL for schools, was created focusing on the holistic approach, communicative, real topics, fit for them. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things that we have for the ESOL for schools. Now, allow me to introduce you all to my colleague, Nancy. Nancy Katsikari has over 16 years of experience in ELT, working as a teacher, director of studies, and teacher training at prestigious educational institutions in Greece and Malta and in UK, but also in Italy now. She holds a Master of Science in Management and Organization of Educational Units, a bachelor degree in English Language and Literature, and she is CELTA and Delta qualified. As a LanguageCert academic consultant, Nancy is driven by her passion for supporting teachers to develop, achieve their goals, and progress their careers. She is a true believer of lifelong learning, and I can witness that, and enjoys engaging experience and knowledge with education professionals from all over the world. So, Nancy, the ball is yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, Giuseppe, for this nice introduction. Hello,
My
everyone.
pleasure.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm really happy to be here with all of you today because we are a team in LanguageCert and we believe in collaboration and synergies. And our collaboration with Macmillan Education is a highly valued one. So we're very happy to present you with this project. We are going to talk about ways that you can use what Romina has presented with Get Involved B2 in order to prepare your students for their ESOL for Schools exam at the B2 level. In more detail, we are going to discuss a bit about ESOL for Schools. So who is this exam for? So basically, it is designed for test takers aged between 11 to 16 who learn English as part of their school curriculum or attend short courses in English as an after-school activity, and test takers who wish to demonstrate they have met their respective level. The main advantage of this exam is that the content is appropriate for school-age test takers. So anything that they deal with during the exam, the topics, the tasks are related to their everyday life and their cognitive ability. Of course, it is aligned with the CFR levels from levels A1 to B2, and it is recognized and regulated by Ofqual. Of course, success is all for skills, listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And there are two standalone exams, the written exam and the spoken exam, which each leads to a separate certificate. We also have two formats available, the paper-based one and the computer-based one, depending on the preference of your test takers and your schools. And of course, we're available worldwide. In more detail, we have the written exam and the spoken exam. The written exam consists of the listening, the reading, and the writing exam. We are going to talk in detail about them and the spoken exam as well. So I'm not going to go through them because we're going to see one by one. And now that brings us to the collaboration that we talked about. This is a mapping document that we created in order to help you use your favorite book, Get Involved, in order to prepare your students and to show you that you can actually take advantage of your favorite resources in order to prepare your students for our LanguageCert exams. So see it as a guide in order to help you adjust any activities that you like, because I'm a teacher and I have my own preferences. So I completely understand that we have our star books and star activities. So how can we use these activities and these resources in order to help our students succeed in ESOL for Schools exam? We are going to provide you with a document in a post-webinar email that will come along with your certificate, so you don't have to worry about accessing this document. And also there is one available for the A2 level, which is also another very important document if you want to start with a lower level students and then continue to the B2 level students. So in more detail, we're going to start with the listening exam, and we are going to see how each part of the exam can be practiced by using the resources of the book. We have actually used two ways to do that. Yes, there are the similar tasks so that you can take from the book and use them as such because they resemble the tasks of the ESOL for Schools exam. But also we wanted to show you that you can use the resources that Get Involved has in meaningful ways in order to approach all different parts of the exam, not just the tasks that align with the exam. For example, listening, okay, let's start with the listening exam and then I'm going to give you examples. I apologize for that. Okay, 4 parts in the listening exam, 26 number of items, multiple choice questions, and short answers. Audio recordings are played twice throughout the exam, which is a very important feature, and the overall duration is 30 minutes. Now, the first part, in the first part, test takers will have to listen twice to 7 unfinished conversations between 2 speakers. One of the conversations will be formal, and of course, they have 3 option multiple choice for each conversation. So they need to choose one of them. The focus is to understand context, meaning, and function in short conversations on concrete and abstract topics. And this is why you can take advantage of all the videos and the visuals that you've seen earlier today because they can be used for this part of the exam because we have a lot of conversations going on in different topics and contexts as Romina has shown. So it is actually aligned in a really nice way. Also, in the document, we have produced suggested practice in the parts that there are not exact tasks so that you can adjust to each and every activity or that you want to use from the book. For example, here we have a short interview, and then we have a suggested practice on how you can use this video and the audio, of course, depending on the preferences of your students. We are going to see how we can do that with other parts as well. Part 2. The test takers need to listen twice to 3 conversations with 2 speakers to identify the topic, the purpose, the context, and different other aspects of everyday conversations. Of course, the focus is to identify a specific aspect of a conversation, and they have 2 questions for each conversation in order to choose the correct answer. Again, of course, the audio is played twice, and here we also have a complete suggested practice with a warm-up task and a main task that you can apply to each and every video like the one here in the real world speaking sections of the book because they simulate real life situations that will help your students practice in order to succeed in this part of the exam. There is always a warm-up and a main task, and you can apply this to the beginning video of this section of the book. The third part, it is test takers need to listen to a radio broadcast, talk, narrative, and etc. to identify specific information that we have to write on a note or message pad, but they will have to give short answers of 1 to 5 words. They need to extract key information from a monologue in this case. So we need to help them practice and Get Involved B2 actually has sections that we can use in order to do that. Here we have an example. And then you can always produce the notepad or the questions relevant in order to help them simulate the scenario of the exam. But they will help you practice no matter what, because these are longer monologues, longer audios, and this is what we test in this part of the exam, the ability to understand longer audios and longer conversations and monologues. Listening part 4. The test takers need to listen to a conversation twice and identify different features such as gist, examples, fact, opinions, and so on and so forth. This is the longer conversation that I mentioned earlier. So from the short conversations, we have the monologue, and then we go to the longer conversation. So there is a sequence throughout the listening exam. And of course, they have 3 answer choices for each question, and the main focus is for them to follow a discussion between 2 speakers. Again, a feature that we encounter multiple times in Get Involved B2, with listening 9 of Unit 9 being the actual task. So you can use it as a simulation for the exam, because you reach the end of the book, so this will be a nice way to go to. And of course, you have other options as well from the different units. That brings us to the end of the listening exams. Let me remind you that take notes of any questions and put them in the chat box so that we can address them towards the end. I'll be more than happy to help you with any queries that you might have. And that brings us to the reading exam. Again, 4 parts, 26 items, multiple choice questions and multiple matching, 2 hours and 10 minutes the duration of reading and writing together. The first part is a longer text. It can be a news story, an article, a review, or proposal. And we have 6 3-option multiple choice questions. The focus is for test takers to understand in detail information, ideas, and opinions in a longer text. And of course, there is this part in Get Involved B2, as you can see here. These are all parts taken from the mapping guide, so you don't have to worry about accessing the right information. And as you can see here, in this part, we have 2 answer choices that they complete the sentence, so it can be similar to the part of the exam. The second part is 1 text with 6 sentences removed. It can be the topic sentence, an opinion sentence, and different parts of the text. And they have a choice of 7 sentences to choose from to complete the 6 gaps. The focus is for them to understand how meaning is built up in a text. And despite the fact that Get Involved does not have the exact task, as I mentioned before, we want to show you that you can use this brilliant resource in order to help your students succeed in the ESOL for Schools exam. So there is also a suggested practice with task 1, task 2, warm-up phase, and main task phase that you can use and adapt for different texts of the book. There are numerous texts in the book on variety topics, so you can utilize them and help your students familiarize with different contexts, topics, opinions, ideas, which is the key for this part of the exam. Part 3, there are 4 texts. Again, it can be an email, an article, an advert, and brochure. All the texts are under the same theme. They are linked, but they have a different purpose. And the focus here is to understand the purpose of the text and to locate specific information and the awareness of writer's stance and attitude. Because towards the end, the test takers need to choose which question identifies information from which text. So again, as you can see, Get Involved has different and varied texts on different topics that you can utilize in the way that we suggest in order for your students to become familiar and identify specific information, opinion, tasks. Stance, sorry. And of course, they are accompanied with different tasks for your students to familiarize with dealing with different texts. And The last part of the reading exam is a continuous text. It can be narrative, descriptive, explanatory, expository, biographical, instructive, with 7 open-ended WH questions requiring short answers. So it's allow me to say it's a standard, let's say, task for reading exams. And of course, the test takers need to understand specific information through detailed reading. Here we have a variety of different tasks that you can take as shots in order for your students to become familiar with this part of the examination. But again, I will invite you to use the other texts in multiple ways, because it's a highly dense course book, and along with the other resources that it has, because, okay, we are talking about the student's book in this mapping guide and webinar, but there are also other resources that you can use in the way that we suggest in this document and in this webinar. And that brings us to the writing exam with 2 parts and 2 different tasks. The whole duration of the reading and the writing is 2 hours and 10 minutes. And let's see each part and each task one by one. The first part is a 100 to 150 word composition. The instructions are given to the candidate to respond using a written input with 3 content points to be addressed. Okay, and of course the intended reader is specified. The focus is for them to respond appropriately to a given text to produce a formal response. So it's a formal piece of writing for an intended public audience. So there is this specification. Let us see how Get Involved deals with this kind of parts and tasks. So there are a lot of writing tasks that you will find in the writing sections of the book. And actually, as you can see, there is a whole section that is suitable for this type of written parts in order for your students to practice their written abilities. And I would advise you to go through them, and they will be more than ready to deal with this part of the exam. There are different tasks. There is also a really nice use of visuals, and there's also the language available. The second part of the exam is a longer composition. They have to write between 150 and 200 words. It is an informal piece of writing, so it's usually a letter to a friend, a specified reader, talking about everyday life and opinions. It can be a narrative or descriptive composition. And this is why, okay, also Get Involved can be used in order to practice for this part of the exam. Again, they have different parts of tasks that you can use in the writing sections. And as you can see, they complement the first part. So the sections that help you practice for the first part complement the other sections that help you practice for the second part of the exam. And towards the last unit, both parts can be used in order, I'm talking about unit 9, both parts can be practiced. And this is the end of the written component, the written exam, because it comprises of listening, reading, and writing. And now we're going to talk about the spoken exam. Again, we have 4 parts, different types of tasks, and the whole duration is 30 minutes approximately. It is a one-to-one conversation with the interlocutor. And the first part is the warm-up phase, as we like to say, because test takers need to communicate personal information and express opinions and ideas. They have to spell their surname and give their country of origin, and then answer up to 5 questions about themselves. So needless to say that Throughout the book, you will find ample of opportunities to practice with everyday topics and personal topics in order to help your students build the vocabulary and the grammar they need in order to express themselves accordingly for this part of the exam. These are just 3 examples, but you will find ample opportunities in each and every unit. The second part of the exam is a more, let's say, communicative aspect, in the sense that we have 2 or more situations which are presented by the interlocutor, and the candidate is required to respond to them and initiate interactions. In that sense, what we want them to do is to being able to communicate appropriately in social situations using a range of functional language to elicit or respond as appropriate. And as Romina mentioned earlier, there are brilliant videos throughout the book, and especially the ones I'm showing here from the real world speaking sections, that you can utilize in multiple ways, like the ways that Romina suggested, but of course in different forms and types, that you can use in order to practice for this part of the exam, and help your students build this negotiation, discussion, opinion, different functional skills that they need for part 2 of LanguageCert ESOL for Schools exam. For example, here I have chosen to show you the giving directions one, which is always one that we think, or our students think, that they can deal with, but sometimes just the simple things are the ones that confuse us the most. So you will have the opportunity to practice with that. The third part of the speaking exam requires the test takers to exchange information and opinions and cooperate to reach an agreement on decision, because they have a short discussion to plan, arrange, or decide something using a written prompt. As you can see here, they will have to talk about their holiday plans. Again, another really nice feature of the Macmillan Get Involved book is that at the end of the student's book, they have a section which is called the project planner, that you can use after the completion of each unit in order to summarize what your students have learned, but also use it as a way to practice for the third part of the exam, because they need to negotiate, to decide, to agree on the information. You can even adjust these visuals into an exam time task. And of course, as you can see, there are different topics that you can use. And last but not least, the final part of the speaking exam is a longer piece of monologue, because the test taker needs to present a topic and demonstrate the ability to use sentences and produce a piece of connected spoken English. They have 30 minutes, 30, sorry, it would be ideal, but no, 30 seconds of preparation time in order to talk about the topic provided by the interlocutor, and then of course some follow-up questions will come next. Again, we have ample opportunities to practice this part of the exam, because at the end of each unit there is also a project section that you can use, and typically the end product is an actual presentation on behalf of the students. They can use either the co-work, or they can do it individually. In this case, if you want to prepare them for the ESOL for Schools exam, it would be ideal for them to present individually, and they can actually consolidate the knowledge that they have gained from the completion of the unit in order to practice for this part of the exam, which is brilliant, because you can see that you have the whole sequence ready-made for you in each and every unit. And that brings us to the end of the presentation for the mapping document. But what I want you to remember is that we at LanguageCert are here for you, and we are very happy to share all the resources and the materials available. So please be reminded that our website has ample resources, ample practice materials for you to use, ready-made lesson plans, guidelines, practice papers, books that you can use. So it doesn't just stop here. It is a continuous effort on our behalf to support you all the way. So please make sure that you visit our website, languageecert.org, frequently, and there is a specific section devoted to teachers, to you, in order to help you throughout the process of preparing your students for our exams. And this is also applicable to all our exams. Now we have compiled different QR codes for you to scan if you want. You can take a picture in order to join our conversation and follow us on the social media. You can find your next webinar. I'm sure that you have signed up for our newsletter, but if you haven't, please make sure you do it, because it has all the new materials that we produce. It's period, and this might be very helpful because it will notify you about the things that maybe you have missed. Of course, we have all the resources, and our YouTube channel also has really nice videos, sample answers that you can have a look and even project during our lessons, and the design lesson plans around them. Of course, that brings us towards the end. Giuseppe, over to you. Please, if you have any questions, just make sure that you address them now.
Hi, and thank you so much, Nancy. That was really, really interesting. And you know, I guess you all know, obviously, the country managers, I love the ESOL for school exams. Probably my favorite one. And when we talk about ESOL for schools and get involved, I think the word itself is clear that we're focusing on that target age. As you mentioned, Nancy, these students are the ones that we're building the future, and these are the ones from A1 to C2 that mostly need a lot of support. So when you talk about supporting teachers with all these lovely QR codes, which I think we should leave there, because a lot of time teachers tell me, but can I have, can you put it back on? But there you go. You got it all there. You got all the support you need. I'm going to just put in the chat my name and surname. Sorry, I'll also put the email in a second. So just to before we go for the question, I wanted to highlight the importance of this qualification. Just came out a couple of years ago, Nancy, if I remember. And in Italy, we started immediately. We started immediately as soon as it came out. And I can definitely share that we have already consolidated excellent feedback when it comes to the accessibility, flexibility, and as I said before, the holistic experience, motivational. The students love this exam.
Because they deal with topics that they are comfortable talking about and dealing with. It's not something out of this world for them. Previous, old-fashioned exams that they used to sit. So yes, they really like it. It's a very, I would say, modern approach and holistic approach to language examinations.
And one of the nice things is I've got feedback from teachers also that they love preparing students when it comes to the speaking part. The topic are targeted, and that's very good. But when it comes to the role play, they love it. They just simply love this game in the classroom where they can do role play, and that final part also where they got that time to do their little presentation and talk about it. It's always appreciated, that part there. So I would like to add also, Nancy, which is not part of this webinar, we have the YL Foxonal pre-A1 and A1, which is, I would say, very important for those younger primary students in the private language school and not that start the experience.
Yeah, it's actually really, really nice, especially for our younger ones, that they love learning English, and we want them to become familiar with exams because, throughout their lives, exams will be there, but in a friendly and age-appropriate way. So yes, it's not part of this webinar, but ESOL Young Learners, Fox and Owl, are also some exams that I'll be more than happy to talk about at a later stage, and I will invite everyone to look at.
So thank you, Nancy. But one of the important things for the Italian school system is the A1 for schools, which is for the first year of lower secondary school.
Okay.
This is a great qualification for those students that come from primary. They can start just, for example, with the speaking, as
For
we
sure.
know, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
move on to the other modules, which is great. So thank you. I'm not going to go into much details because you really gave a beautiful insight, and the mapping was an enormous amount of work that you did, A2 and then B2.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was fun doing
Did
it.
you enjoy yourself doing that?
I hope, yes, because it's a really nice book. So I hope that they will take good advantage of it, and hopefully it will help them.
I have a few questions. We got a few
Yes,
minutes.
please.
If you
Yes,
allow me to jump in. In the meantime, I'm going to just copy in the chat something really important before I forget. For the teachers in Italy, if you don't mind, there's an opportunity for you if you're going to Didacta, and Romina and Nancy will be there
yes.
face to face. I will be there too. So please do have a look at that, what I'm sharing in the chat. We got 11 sessions where you can choose from. And there's a link, and you can just register. It's free, and please do come to visit me. I see that my surname is spelled incorrectly, but that's fine. Doesn't matter. I've seen my surname written in different ways. Now,
Yes.
the questions are, Romina, I'm going to start with you. I found this question, and it is, how can school have a look at the book?
Oh, okay. So there are several ways of having a look at the book. First of all, I'm going to share the presentation that I talked about today, which is a little bit more focused on a specific section of the book. But last year, I had a more, let's say, general presentation about the book itself and all the sections that the book is composed of. So I can share that as well if you wish. And also, I shared my email address in the chat, but I
Yes,
can
you
share
did,
it
but
again.
do it again. Do it again.
Exactly.
Please do.
And if you contact me, I can share both the digital codes to have a look at all the digital parts and paper books. So
Thank you,
you
Romina.
can
If
ask
you
for
do,
samples as well.
that's good. So put your email in there. They can contact you
Yep.
directly, and if you can share with us, we'll send it to the participants after the webinar. Nancy, I think there's a
Absolutely.
question for you too, but you have already kind of replied. Teacher support materials like practice
Support
papers.
materials. Yes, so everything is available online and free. So please visit our website. Actually, if you are familiar with QR codes, you can scan the one which says find the teaching resources. But if you're not familiar with QR codes, don't worry, just go to our website and there is a specific section devoted to teachers. So you just click on teachers and then you will find all the information. It's categorized per exam and per type of information that you're looking for. So you can't miss it.
And I know that we have a lot of materials on YouTube.
A lot of materials, and there are more to come, mind you. Spoiler alert. We are in the process of preparing more for this specific exam, so stay tuned.
And the website itself is a specific place for teachers. They can find everything. And, yes, there's a question about the certificate. I told you it was going to come. The certificate will be sent. Yes, it will be sent. We will send all the participants, and I've seen a lot of people have jumped in late. So you will get the recording so you can go back and listen to it. Don't worry, we'll send that to you too. Romina, sorry, I'm moving on quickly because we want to respect the time. The question is for you. Where are the suggestions for the activities you were talking about earlier?
Okay, so all these suggestions can be found in the teacher's book. So when you have a look at the unit, then do have a look at the teacher's book with all the notes, because you've got all these kinds of, let's say, alternative suggestions for the multisensory approach. Inside the book, there are also the boxes that I mentioned, the super skills and the brain teaser ones. And also there's an extra digital booklet that is called the Little Booklet of Teaching that I recommend having a look at. It's on our website on the Get Involved page.
It sounds very welcoming, the title. I like that.
A
Um,
little
n-
book,
a
little
little
booklet
book,
of
a
teaching.
little book of teaching. Very good. It makes it accessible. The next question, I've had to put some of the questions here, I couldn't manage them all. I have a question for how can our school run sessions in, how can their school run sessions of language cert? Now, that's my question. Sorry, Nancy, I'm taking over here. Very simple. There's a QR code over there. You can contact me, giuseppe.romagnoli@peoplecert.org. You'll find the contacts. We are opening academic partners in the state schools in Italy, and you can contact me. I'm more than happy to support you in that. The next question is, Nancy, is there use of English in the exam? I think you covered that also somehow through your talk.
Is there use of English?
In the speaking, in the exams, in the format of the exam, is there a part of the exam is specific for use of English?
Um,
I believe not,
not
because it's
tested.
listening,
It's
reading,
not
writing, and
tested. No, no,
speaking.
no. It's not tested individually. It's integrated into the different parts. Generally, this exam and all our language exams test the different aspects of language learning and language acquisition in an integrated way, in a holistic way. So there are no specific tasks regarding language use or vocabulary use or grammar use.
It's all embedded within the
Yes,
specific
yes.
skills. Very
Mhm.
good. And Romina, we're getting to the two more questions. Romina, how can we balance language cert exam tasks with the multi-sensory activities? This is a bit more technical. You got 30 seconds. You can do it.
I've got 30 seconds. Okay. So, well, Nancy already mentioned that the language cert exam is also quite involving in terms of extra activities that the students can do. So my suggestion is that while you do the activities for the exams, always have a look if there's something extra that you can do just to give your students a little bit of an extra role play, an extra activity that they can do, which looks like a game, but it's actually something that they are doing for the exam. So with Get Involved, you can do both. So I'm sure that you'll find the right resources there. And I'm going to share the link for what I mentioned earlier about the booklet in a second.
While you do that, I'm wrapping up. The last question is again, Nancy, you replied, is the speaking one-to-one or is it
Yes.
with another
No.
person in
It's
front of the examiner?
one-to-one, individual attention to each candidate. It is recorded for assessment purposes, one-to-one with an interlocutor.
This obviously is one of the highlights of our exam. The
Yes.
candidate feels safe, feels
And it's
the
a very
timing,
communicative
very communicative. There you go.
exam. That's what I like about this, especially the second part.
Especially exactly the second part. So I think we've given enough information. It's very difficult to put this because it takes a lot of time to prepare, etc. But you've got in a nutshell what's happening. You have the information of Get Involved. You have the information of ESOL for schools, but fundamentally you have the map, which you're going to be getting that Nancy has put together. Romina has given you the link over there. So we will send you after the webinar. You'll be getting your certificate of attendance. You'll be getting the mapping. You'll be getting the recording and a panettone. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. There's no cakes for anybody. That's it. We stop there. I would like to say that when you stop when you leave the webinar, you will have a little survey. Please make it 2 minutes. It's even less, maybe a minute to fill it in, and it really helps us. I want to thank Romina, Pifri, and Macmillan for being so good partners, and I'm looking forward to see you next week in Florence and some other teachers also. I want to thank Nancy for the effort, for participating, and I'm looking forward to seeing you.
My pleasure. Yes, looking forward to it.
I'm going to thank, obviously, the organization LanguageCert for supporting organizing this and for sponsoring this, obviously, and the team at the events that I must mention. They are phenomenal. They're always the ones that don't put the face. It's Anna, Sophia, Christina. Thank you so much for supporting me. And I would say that we've done really well. There's been a lovely attendance, people from all over. Thank you very much. Grazie mille. Aristo. And that's it. I can't say, yes, I can say it in other languages, but I'm not going to. Thank you very much. It has been lovely. And to the next webinars. Romina.
Absolutely, absolutely.
talk
To the
about
next
that.
ones. And thank
Nancy,
you everyone for
thank you.
inviting me as usual.
Thank you, Arianna. Thank you, everybody.